judges of the graduation project. I'm at my old school before I came to TC Robertson, Chrysalis High School in Woodinville, Washington. So over here, we're gonna be, as you saw, we just looked through the school. We visited some parts of it, and now we're gonna go interview its founder and director, Karen Fogel, who's also the mother of my mentor, and gain some insight on why the school was founded and what its core purpose is.
Hi, my name is Karen Fogel, and I'm the founder and director of Chrysalis School in Woodinville, Washington.
Okay. When did you found this school, and why were you motivated to do it?
I started the school in 1983. I was a public school teacher before I had my own children, and I worked my training as a teacher, and my work was in open classroom, child-centered learning environments. And so when I had my own kids, I wanted a school like that for them, and I couldn't find a school like that for them, so I started one myself in my house.
So what would you say was your main criticism of public schools in general that you didn't want your kids to go through?
I think all the time spent waiting and sitting and following someone else's curriculum instead of their interests and their desires of things they wanted to do. That was more important to me. So I didn't want them sitting at a desk and chair their whole life. I wanted them out learning and doing and
So kind of like a college?
exploring, like a college, yeah.
Okay. So what were your original ideas when you founded the school? So what did you envision this school to be, in contrast to other schools?
Starting the school was kind of like going down the river in a canoe, like you were just kind of following the growth that happened. I started in my house because I was homeschooling, and I found other homeschooling families who also wanted me to teach their children, so they started bringing their children. Then I started hiring teachers because I didn't want to be necessarily the only teacher for my kids. And then we moved to several other places, and so things just grew. The kids said, "Could you do high school?" So I added high school, and so everything sort of evolved. There wasn't like this grand plan of I want a big school and I want to have all these kids come. It happened very slowly and organically as kids said what they wanted. We kind of followed that.
Nice. Well, what challenges did you encounter when starting the school?
Certainly finances. It's very expensive to operate a school, and so at first we would get free books that people had in the school district, so we didn't have to pay for books, and that helped. And so we were always looking for ways to do things economically. So probably the economics of getting it going. We didn't borrow any money, we didn't have anyone giving us any money, so it was just based on tuition and what parents paid. So probably the first 10 years I didn't take a salary at all. So my husband was willing to let me do this all that time without an income. And then eventually it had to do that or I couldn't keep doing it.
Yeah.
So.
What were your friends and family's opinions about your initiative?
Well, I think a lot of people still don't understand what we do. Most people think about school in a very traditional way, where the teacher decides what everyone's going to learn, or the state decides that and the teacher follows through. And so the idea that kids have choice and that kids have good ideas and that we trust kids to make good decisions, that's a concept that's difficult for a lot of people to understand. It's not that they think there's a problem with it, they just don't really understand it. They think, well, when are they going to go to real school? And so.
Yeah. Well, in the school's early years, and shortly after you'd founded it, do you think that it fulfilled your ideas of the ideal school?
Yes. I mean, I studied a lot of different people who wrote about what would an ideal school be. And I looked at all of their models and all of their designs and sort of created my own model based on all the other models I looked at. And we've changed along the way. It's been 33 years, so we've changed how we do things because the world has changed. But our basic philosophy of having kids have choice in their learning and make a lot of decisions about their learning, that's remained constant.
Okay, so you do think that the methods of education currently offered by Chrysalis match your original vision for
Yes.
an ideal education with some
Mhm.
modifications?
Mm-hmm. When I look back at things I wrote 30 years ago, it's very much the same as I would write now. So yes, the core philosophy has been the same.
That certainly sounds very nice. So in your opinion, does Chrysalis currently offer that other schools don't?
I think certainly the opportunity for kids to learn about themselves and find their strengths and know that that's important in the world, that they don't have to be like other people, they can be an individual, and that their differences are positive and important, not a negative, where I think a lot of kids feel like if they're different than everybody else, they're not as good as everybody else, or there's something wrong with them, where really their differences are what are going to make them shine in the world and going to bring their own uniqueness. And the younger kids learn that, the longer they have to really perfect that development.
Well, thanks, Mrs. Fogel, for taking the time to answer our questions. Alright, well, I hoped you liked the video and the project as a whole enough to give me a good grade. See you in a few months.